Poor old Charles Darwin struggled with dyspepsia most of his adult life. He had stomach pain, nausea. And if you read his letters or his diary, he complains about this a lot. He and his doctor put it down to nervous dyspepsia. So it also ruined his social life and turned him into a recluse. How good is the evidence that it was actually H. pylori that was causing his problem?
So that is the subject of a rejected letter to Nature that a friend of mine submitted. I don't know whether I was co-author, but I knew about it. And the epidemiology is that in the 19th century, the whole human race was infected with it. And there are many famous characters in the 19th century who died from stomach trouble or had it their whole life and made them particularly cranky and intolerant. So Charles Darwin, he would have had it. Almost most people had it. And he had this issue that whenever he was under stress or pressured, he would get in all these vomiting attacks. And there was all kinds of theories about why he had nervous dyspepsia. The fact that he was in a seminary school and later became an atheist, you see. So there was this thing, there's this, he used to call himself the devil's chaplain because he didn't really believe it anymore. But so that was all the Freudians came up with reasons why he had stomach trouble and he was conflicted, etc. But like anything that you don't understand in medicine and a lot of other areas, if we don't know the cause of it, we say it's caused by stress because every person on earth has got stress, so you can always blame it on the patients. And so everyone said it was stress. And in his biography, of course, even Alfred Nobel had the same diagnosis with stomach aches and stress, so-called stress. But he went, Charles Darwin's an interesting one though, because if you look at the details, his vomiting attacks started before his boat left Southampton on the voyage of the Beagle. So on the voyage of the Beagle, he got, in quotes, seasickness all the time. But you used to have to go and sit on the boat for a few days while they were waiting for the right tide and they were loading it up. So he was in his cabin on the Beagle and had vomiting attacks then, even before he went on the voyage of the Beagle. So the story of it being seasickness is pretty much bogus.
Right.
And then on the voyage of the Beagle, he had episodes where he would be laid up for days and everyone said, oh, that was Chagas disease in South America and some other things. And as in his whole life, he was a member of like the Royal Society, but he couldn't really travel up to London except once every 10 years to give a speech because he would just go decompensate. He was always vomiting. He's always taking health cures like icy cold water and things like that. He even was treated on one occasion with bismuth treatment, which probably put him into remission because it does kill the H. pylori.
Yeah.
So they snagged a good treatment at one point. And anyway, so when he died, he was always sitting there with this great beard, plucking whiskers out of his beard and mucking around. So on his desk, there were whiskers. And when he died, this is what I'm told third hand. I don't have any proof. It's not published yet. But when he died, the housemaid swept up his desk and put all his whiskers in an envelope, all these loose whiskers.
Oh.
And then a friend of mine, who shall remain nameless at the moment, got hold of some of these whiskers from the Darwin family and ran a PCR on them, and they're labelled with Helicobacter pylori. So, yes, he did have Helicobacter pylori, and that is certainly the most likely explanation for Charles Darwin's lifelong guts aches.
That's amazing. This feels like a scoop, right?
It is kind of a scoop, yeah.
That's incredible. Can you just tell me a little bit about how that works with the PCR and the genetics?
Yeah, so the PCR is polymerase chain reaction, and the coincidence is that Carrie Mullis discovered that the same year that I and Robin Warren discovered the importance of Helicobacter pylori in 1983. So it was a bit of a landmark as the new biotech started to come in. Yeah. So PCR, we can talk about that. So with all bacteria, all life forms and criminals, as you know, everybody's got unique DNA, and bacteria have got a unique DNA. And so with, for example, whiskers, you dissolve the DNA off them in a test tube and shake it up, and then you would put it into a polymerase chain reaction set up in a machine. And if it finds the particular sequence of H. pylori in there, you put a probe in and we look for that. It will amplify that little piece of DNA 1,000,000 times or 1,000 million times. And then you can take a bit of that fluid out of the test tube and put it on a gel, and you can see this little band of proteins appearing. And that won't happen unless you've got an exact match.
Right.
So that's why PCR, it's an amazing thing.